That dramatic music signals it can only be time for another season re-reviewed, and they've just put it on screen what happens at the end. So myself, Mikey Burrows of Wolves TV, Tom Parry and Tim Spiers. No point doing this, boys. They've just spoilt it.
That was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
A lengthy victory parade awaits.
Well done, everybody. Another great recording. See you all soon.
Spiers has an assault on the Coca-Cola Championship and would not be denied that famous league
I
trophy.
mean, this is just spoilerific.
After a promising 2007-2008 campaign,
What was that guy
the manager
wearing?
knew that resting on their laurels would not be an option.
Oh, what a season. What a
Here we
season.
go. Looking forward to this.
I've been looking forward to this one. This all 2 hours and 20 minutes of it. It's going to be.
Oh, it's a lengthy review.
We're gonna
It's a
milk
lengthy
it.
review.
Hello.
Bloody hell. It's all Mission Impossible.
Locking
Sam
it.
Vokes was the first player to sign. The promising young striker moved away from the South Coast.
Oh, the
of
season
Bournemouth.
reviews have been dragged into the future here, haven't they? Look at that. The transfer 100% complete.
It's like the old Premier League years.
Transfer
You know, when someone got fired and they'd like stamp
silenced
it
the
on
journalist by signing a new 4-year contract with Wolves. A major deal
Michael
for the club,
Kelly didn't look
who are all
happy.
too aware of the talented player's growing reputation. Young centre-back Richard Stearman keen to move following the relegation.
There were a lot of blonde
Leicester
highlights
City.
this season. I do remember that.
Oh, just fantastic.
It was the perfect era for the hair tints, wasn't it?
Oh, the line as well. I had one of them lines in my hair.
No,
I used to
you
love
didn't.
those. I did on the side. It was on the side, just above my ear, like a little line. It was. They were like go faster racing stripes.
Yeah, exactly right.
6'3" striker.
Chris Wellamo here.
For Charlton last season, and the fans were excited at the prospect of his partnership with top scorer last season, Sylvain Ebanks-Blake. With the
So
manager happy
do we
with
sign him in the close season?
he began
Yeah.
trimming down the squad numbers.
Because he plays, you know that famous game where Sylvain scores that worldy goal at Charlton
Eastwood, who had failed
Yes.
to
the season before. Looms is playing for Charlton that day.
Coventry. Jake
Oh,
Bottom,
interesting.
another player whose first team starts have been restricted, particularly at the back.
I mean,
This is great. This is like.
This is-
Is this the year that Wolves got their first PC?
But these guys are leaving. These guys should be put in the recycling bin if they're going to really do it properly.
I think that's what they're doing. Like,
Is it?
I mean, it's kind of look.
It
there
is.
they go.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's brilliant.
It's kind of brutal, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
Shea Alpiniano did not deserve the
The new
recycling
season
bin.
began with a tough away trip to
Well, the
Plymouth.
question is, have we emptied
David
the
Jones, Sam
recycling bin
Richard
yet? Because
Stearman
that's the
began
next
match
step.
in
Where
the
we
team for the first
you
time.
put the files
It would
in
be
there, but
another
when do
new
you
boy,
flush it?
Sam Vokes, who grabbed the headlines.
I think you mixed metaphors. Do you flush your recycling bin? Let's start talking about flushing again. Oh, home commentary.
At Home
Fair.
Park.
Yeah, very excited.
Can we, because we just saw him in the bottom of the screen, and we're not really going to see him very much after this, can we just talk about George Ellakobi for a little bit? Because,
Mick McCarthy's body double.
yeah. Because I love George Ellakobi, and he's brilliant to even watch on Instagram now.
Yeah, he's quality.
That's a lovely finish. But, I mean, it's such a shame that we pretty much won't see him after a couple of games.
Yeah, he came back though, didn't he? Remember he scored against Man United in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He had his moment. What was all that? What was all that chop stuff about, Mikey? Can you? I never understood that chop.
I thought it was just to do with tackling.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, is that it? he says chop at the end of every social media message that he puts out there.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a dench thing. Remember, like frimpong dench. I thought it was that like chop. No. Cool.
It's kind of like the Liam Gallagher "As You Were" kind of thing, isn't it? It's his personal brand.
Yeah.
But where are the origins? Maybe he likes eating chops.
I mean,
No.
it's a stretch. I'd love that to be true.
You'd have to really like eating
He
chops
just
for
had them every day for his tea while he was playing.
I'm gonna start putting mash at the end of every message I put out there. Mash.
Less cool. Now we're in for long. That's when you know you're in for long highlights when these kind of things are making the highlight reel. This is why it's a 2 hour 20 season review.
But if they're expecting analysis from us, then they've got another thing coming. To be honest.
Oh, what a goal!
That is a great goal.
Well, would you believe it? Sam Vooks has been
Vooks.
on
Vooks.
That sounds like Mel B from Bo Selector saying Vokes. Vooks!
Vooks.
Vooks. Yeah, international signing.
Wolves made heavy work of
I like these little quotes that we've got for every game coming in. It's a bit like when you buy a diary and you have your kind of quote of the week.
I mean, they can't do this for Nuno. Yes, tough game. We competed every single week.
Yeah, it's like word of the day.
I also, because we're only, 7 years on from needing to use the footage we recorded off the skybox at Molineux. And all of a sudden we've got all these graphics.
Gives Accrington Stanley a shot lead here at Molineux. It's a strong challenge. They're really looking up for this now, Wolves.
Yeah, a lot of blonde. Keogh, Dave Edwards, Stearman. Lots of blonde.
Ball in there. It's Iwalumo. And it's 1-1.
Towering header.
Iwalumo's first goal of the season.
Mickey Gray, another blonde.
Taken. They've had to wait more than half an hour for the equaliser, but it was a fine goal when it finally came. Corner in from Davis, and what a header that is! Chris Iwalumo with his second of the night. And for the first time this evening,
As I've said before, and I will continue to say many times again, Chris Iwalumo, fouls and bullet headers.
Yeah, that was it.
Is that the title of his autobiography?
It should be.
So, when you think back to this season, did you go into this thinking we were champion material? Because we'd missed out on the playoffs the season before, hadn't we?
Yeah, only just, I think. Yeah. We'd just missed out on the playoffs after a bad run, sparked by Mick McCarthy's Willy Won'ty link to the South Korea national job. Do you remember that?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Remember that?
Bloody hell.
Derailed the campaign from nowhere. Just can't imagine Mick McCarthy in South Korea. Just sounds like an idea for a sitcom rather than an actual football manager's job.
Yeah, that is a travel log that I would watch, actually. Mick McCarthy in South Korea. Maybe that's like the next move for him. He's kind of like a Michael Palin in waiting.
No, that's the question. I don't think so. I remember thinking that it was a developing team, but not necessarily one that was ready to take the division by storm.
Yeah, that's how I seem to remember it as well. And you kind of like look at those signings in the close season, and it wasn't like a sense of like, oh, now we've got the proper outfit, but everything seemed to click this season. But did I remember it being it coming as a bit of a surprise?
Well, I remember Lumo coming in, and he was like a journeyman striker at the time, so we weren't thinking he's going to score like 15 goals like he did. Stephen Ward was at left back, I remember, and that was very much a kind of a new thing, an unknown thing. So, yeah,
Well,
I would have thought we were thinking playoffs.
I was working at Beacon by this point, and we used to have a legendary guy called Jeff Owen, who we used to send to go and do press conferences and stuff. And I think he covered Warsaw games. He might have done Wolves back in the day, but he went to Warsaw matches. But he always went to Mick's press conference. And the season leading into this, he was adamant that there was a point where the Express and Star had a spread ready to go of should Mick stay or go in that season before this.
Well, a big thing the season before, if you remember, was the Freddie Eastwood thing as well, and a lot of the fans sided with Freddie Eastwood over Mick McCarthy, and there was a big thing about whether Freddie was like the big signing at the start of the summer, should he play? Mick was like he should have been more of a team player, so he's going to be on the bench. And I remember the fans singing Freddie's name a lot, and Mick would just refuse to bring him on as a point of principle because he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do what you say," etc. But in a Mick McCarthy accent.
It's not bad, Mick McCarthy.
Okay, thanks.
Next time the quotes come up and it's Mick McCarthy before the game, you'll have to do it as Mick.
But it was a little bit fractious. People forget it wasn't all Super Mick for 5 years. You know, because he would slag the fans off, and a lot of fans just didn't take to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was right, Mikey.
Well, it's the thing, like, because obviously we'll never know. I presume you weren't even working as a young news reporter at this time.
No, unemployed, I think.
I can't believe Looms isn't going to celebrate with Kitely for this. That's outrageous for me.
Yeah, that is outrageous.
Yeah, Kitely's done everything there, hasn't he? And just walks off. So were you unemployed because of that line in your hair? It's not going to do you any favours in job interviews, is it?
You might be right. I never got that feedback, but yeah, probably.
What a start to the season, eh? We came out the blocks.
It's just been some really nice link-up play here.
A broken metatarsal for Jody Craddock in the previous match meant a layoff of at least 3 months. Neil Collins took his place at the back, and local boy Carl Henry took over the captain's duty for the away trip to Ipswich.
Neil Collins? God. Forgotten that name.
Now living it up in Florida, of all places.
Really?
Yeah, he's manager of Tampa Bay Rowdies. With Kevin Foley as his assistant. Yeah.
What a life that must be.
I don't think he's managed to get a tan yet, though. He's been there a few years, but he's very, very pale-skinned.
Great header.
So this is the game, I think, that Elokobi gets injured in.
I think you might be right.
It's away by Thatcher. Kenyago beaten by Steele.
He'd had a few too many chops before the game. There he is, look, struggling to turn. Belly full of lamb and pork. Maybe that was it. He had both.
One too many chops.
Oh, that's it.
God.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
It's blocked by Henry. Lisby's up there. Here's a chance. Oh, clean off the line, is it? No handball. They were appealing for a handball on the line, but it was
I mean, the
just
Ipswich
cleared
players are really
away.
concerned here.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, look at that.
Jeez,
Absolute
come on,
gits,
lads.
aren't they? Play it
Bloody
on.
hell.
Here we go.
Bloody hell.
And the referee decided that was a foul by Walters. Well, all drama inside the
You
penalty
know it's foul
area.
when someone hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Especially someone like him.
Easy header by Collins, too high for Jarvis. Bruce.
Ooh, hello.
Referee deciding that was a foul by Bruce. A red card.
Straight red.
Challenge by
Lovely
Mick.
stuff.
Decision made by Steve Tanner.
Wait,
Is
who's that? 23?
That's Darren Ward, isn't it? Is it Darren Ward? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Another blondie.
So Ipswich not only chasing the game, but chasing.
Yeah,
the
Darren
man,
Ward.
and the fumble allows.
Have you just Googled it?
2-0,
I've got this
and
one.
it goes from bad to worse for Ipswich.
Yeah, he joined from Millwall, I think.
Oh, I haven't got it.
Richard Wright can only.
I mean, I'll do some prep for this, but
I mean, he only played marginally more games for Wolves than Tom Parry. So
Jarvis. He's only got Kyo and Uwelame with him. Doesn't beat either of them. Oh, that was almost a beautiful third. Denied by the post.
I mean, you can tell why we've got almost 2.5
You
hours
must
of
be
this.
thoroughly
Or you
satisfied,
go, Tim.
not only with the result but the performance as well.
Yeah, always satisfied.
oh yeah, always no, great performance, but yeah.
What's the Mick McCarthy story about him getting some boxing gloves and boxing a player in the ring? Have you heard that story? Where like he had a disagreement with one of his players. I don't know if it was pre-Wolves, and he was like, "Let's sort this out." And then he came in the next day with 2 pairs of boxing gloves and made the player box him. What? Have you ever read that story?
Never heard that.
Man, I thought that was like one of those stories that was like as good as fact. Right, let me see. I'll see if I can track down the origins of that story. Like McCarthy boxing
The two games, I think the
someone
fact that you scored when
he was their manager.
helped your cause this time.
Of course, well, it does. If you score goals, it does. It's a.
I do like
makes the
Big
difference
Mick.
in the games, doesn't it? It's the winning or the losing of them.
It was obviously very early in my kind of reporting career, having to go and do press conferences with him, and it was like it was a nightmare sometimes because you knew that somebody in the room was going to get it.
Yeah.
So if he did it to one of the TV reporters early on, you're like, good, it's not going to be me. I'm all right.
120-minute 0-0 draw.
Plus, he always used to like come into the room, and there was a little table set up to the side, and he'd like pretend. He had this trick where he'd put a spoon through the handle of his cup, and he'd pretend to fill it with coffee, and he'd even go to the trouble of like pretending to put sugar in and stirring it and all sorts. And then he'd look and see who was sat close enough to him, and he'd be like chatting to them like over his shoulder, like, "Hi mate, how are you?" Blah blah blah. And then he'd turn and he'd like throw the cup as if he'd tripped. The cup would spin round on the spoon that was between his fingers, so it didn't go anywhere. And obviously the person sat down thought they were going to get showered in boiling hot coffee, so they'd like fall off their chair, and he'd wet himself laughing.
I love this. He's like a Tommy Cooper.
Yeah. He'd be like, honestly, he'd be there going like, ho ho ho,
Just
I'm
like
to tell Taff and TC I've got another one.
Yeah, just like that. I bet the staff had to be like, oh God, he's doing it again. and have to pretend to like it every time.
Yeah, Mick's done his cup thing again.
Oh, Mick's doing his cup thing again. Just pretend to like it, will you?
Why are they interviewing him at a college open day here?
Great shout. Geography teacher in the background there.
No, your kid's doing all right. He does his homework, and that's, he's got a good attitude to learning.
Who's that Mancunian you were just doing an impression of there? Oh, here we go. This is the good stuff.
This is great.
Perhaps the greatest first half performance that I might have seen, actually.
It's as far as a Molineux first half, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, and this probably was the first time in the season where you kind of thought, bloody hell, we got something special here. like the team was really clicking, wasn't it? It's just like it started to feel like, hello, we got something really exciting on our hands here.
Yeah, I feel like we'd have beaten pretty much any team in the country that day. Like everything just worked.
We've done this on a big match we visited. We didn't realise just how little happens in the last half an hour of this game. It was a real stretch to try and fill that time.
Once the game's gone, it's just kind of like.
By the way, look out for the Nottingham Forest goal, which I think is credited as a Stearman own goal, though he's nowhere near it.
Okay.
Get
in. Oh my God, what a hit.
Get in.
And the person who does score the own goal knew that he'd scored it and absolutely celebrates the next morning when in the papers it's credited to Spiers.
Okay.
Just keep an eye out. Oh, look how fast he is.
Look at that. Oh, it's great.
Again, Iwalumo just didn't go and celebrate with Jarvis. Here you go. Look, there's Stearman there.
Stearman? What the hell? Who does it go off then?
Kevin Foley.
What the hell?
It goes off the back of Kevin Foley's head.
God, that's so funny.
What, and that was officially given as a Stearman own goal?
Yeah.
That's mental. Love this goal so much.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Ah.
He's such a...
So the
Such a
two goals he
good-looking
scored in this
footballer.
game with right foot and left foot, phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Oh, he was great. Great footballer, Kitely.
He was my favourite at this time in this team.
Yeah, yeah. Just...
Michael Kindly. So that's a very good start.
God, there you go, yeah. Off to an absolute flyer. Do we just stay
Here we
there?
go.
What do you think Mick's password was?
Mug.
I love Roy Keane.
Yeah. I mean, these are the bits that we don't really need to know, do we?
Although to be
Nah.
fair, if we'd have
Go
had
on.
it on some of the other ones we've done, then we would have really understood why Park the Pole arrived.
Yeah, in fact, we really needed it in 97, 98, didn't we? That's when we could have done with it. Ooh.
Magnificent goal. Nick Bailey, with less than 3 minutes on the watch, scores a stunner and Charlton Athletic lead. Spearman, now Foley. Ebanks-Blake is the target here. Keogh in there. It's Fortune who won it. Struggling to get it clear here, Charlton.
That was close.
Why is all this in the highlights video?
That was a good shot.
Do you remember when we completely missed out 8 goals of the League Cup game at Rotherham?
Yeah, the 4-4 at Rotherham. Yeah.
Oh, lovely to see.
And that
He didn't even
again,
score.
Yeah, I know, that's it. This whole
Oh, no, it's
passage
penalty.
play. Yeah, here
They
we
just
go.
could have run that from the free kick.
There's a booking for Nick Bailey. His challenge on Keogh deemed to be sufficient for Wolves to be awarded a penalty and a road back here.
Such a wide man, isn't he, Sylvan Ebanks-Blake?
Doesn't look like a footballer.
No, like
But he's damn
he
sure
remains
plays like
wide.
one.
Remains wide all the way. He's like shoulder width the whole length of his body. Like when he turns, it's like a shopping trolley kind of. But like must have been so difficult to play against. Think about trying to mark Sylvan Ebanks-Blake and get the ball off him, and it's just like there's no way around him.
Low centre of gravity, wasn't it?
Low centre of gravity, wide, strong. Ah, great. Yes, please.
His purple patch, like this season and the season before, I think he scored like 50 goals in 2 seasons at this level.
Yeah, he was pretty unstoppable these last these 2 seasons. It was
I don't understand. I know he had a few injuries, and I think I said this to him on his old Gold Club episode. Like, I don't understand why he didn't score in the Premier League.
I think he had his injuries, but they just became a more defensive team. The season after this, I was looking up the other day because I interviewed Sylvan for a piece. They scored 32 goals the following season in the Premier League from 38 games. So, and that wasn't. I don't think that was necessarily a fault of the players they had. But Mick just went uber defensive and had Kevin Doyle up front on his own, and it was all about clean sheets and 0-0s and staying up. So he kind of put the handbrake on. So it didn't help Sylvan at all.
It's interesting that because you look at this team, yeah, like it wasn't like Mick's kind of like at the start of this season. Certainly, you kind of think we're really free flowing and scoring a lot of goals. You know, like we're an attacking team. You don't associate that necessarily with Mick McCarthy. Like in my head, the Mick McCarthy Wolves teams, I associate with those, you know, like defensive performances. But maybe that comes later in the season, I think, because we're scoring for fun at the moment.
Because this is the thing, like, this is classic Ebanks-Blake. In the box, back to goal, spin, finish.
Yeah, absolutely. He was fantastic. How old is he now? How old is he in this season?
He's about 22, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Ebanks-Blake wants it back again. Kindly gets the ball in there and it's just turned behind by Spiers.
I spoke to him about it recently, and he just said he was just in like a zone, which is kind of hard to explain, but he just knew that he would score every single time he stepped onto the pitch.
That's what I mean. When I did a thing with Bully recently. He said a similar thing. He said just in his head, he just knew, put me on and I'll score for you. And it's just like that. Yeah.
And then, like, if those doubts ever creep in, like maybe they did for him the following season, that's when you start to second guess your instincts, and that's when you start missing chances, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you say you did a thing with Bully recently?
Just slip that in. Just slip that in, lads. Yeah, I did.
Bully, interviewing Ebanks-Blake. This is my job.
I did there's a podcast that Josh Widdicombe does about 90s football called Quickly Kevin Will He Score, and I've been a guest on a few times, and like the first one I did was to talk about Bully being my hero, and they had me back like about 4 months ago. And they said it was just to be doing a quiz. And then they said, I got in the studio and they said, oh, it's not a quiz, we've got a surprise for you. And Steve Ball walked through the door. Oh my God. First time I'd ever met him proper. Like I met him, I had his autograph from like when he came back from Italy, when he did a signing in Beatties. So I'd met him like...
Brilliant. That is so Wolverhampton.
Yeah. Actually, vintage Express and Star, it was... oh, hang on. Just pause a moment for a bicy. Yes, please. Yeah, Bully did a signing. They put him in the China section of Beatties, so the Express and Star could go with the inevitable title, Bull in a China shop.
And then last summer, when I was still at the Express and Star, we did it all over again when Bully was in a shop in China.
Look at that, yes, please. So I got to interview Bully for like for an hour. It was like a dream. Couldn't believe it.
Adam Proudlock next on your list.
Yeah.
I'm doing a special with Colin Larkin next week, guys. You might be interested to hear.
Probably better off saving that, Tim, for when a crowd can actually turn up.
Hey. Have you, Mikey, have you ever spoke to Looms about this unbelievable purple patch he had? Did he score like 15 in 15 at the start of the season?
I was going to say he's already scored 7 already this season. It's like...
I think...
Where are we? Like
I
September?
mean, it's a weird one because obviously he's spoken a lot, but we haven't like directly done an interview with him on it because obviously he's always interviewing people with me.
Yeah.
He talks a lot about him, like he said Sylvan wasn't speaking to him during this period.
Oh, wow.
Because he was ahead of him in the goal scoring charts.
Bro, I really like that actually. I think that's great.
That's a young Andy Lonergan goal, by the way. But yeah, Looms reckons that Sylvan would only talk to him when he was scored more goals on him.
I think that's great. It fuels them both on.
Sylvan denies it, by the way, but
Lovely to see there. Coming together of heads. Does he go?
Yeah, he does go.
I was going to say, I think he goes, doesn't he?
Right in front of the referee Martin Atkinson.
lovely to see Carl Henry in the referee's ear.
For his side.
He knows as well, that's why he stayed down.
And Ledger going up. Bit of a coming together.
Oh.
Oh, Looms.
It's not free, that.
This is Rivaldo level of simulation from Looms there. Look at him.
Yeah.
That kit, by the way, it's not good if you're sweating.
No, it's not.
It's a very smelly kit.
Because
I've got the long sleeved away kit. The black, it's the away kit's black, isn't it, from this season with like.
Was that the one with like the fluorescent lining?
And that's been my pyjama top for on and off for a while now, and it stinks the next morning. I don't mind telling you.
Fantastic.
It's just like, yeah. Oh, this is what we like to see.
Is that Shackle? Is that Jason Shackle? I think it is.
I've forgotten this has happened, yeah.
Neil Mellor out here. Scan consolation it will be for Peony.
Channel Hans Sagers.
Here comes Mellor and scores. Well, they got one back.
Mick, just an extraordinary afternoon in many ways. Your opposite number, Alan Irvine, typically for him, has come out and been very honest and said at the end of all of that, Wolves were better than we were. And I suppose from your point of view, that's the most important thing.
Of course it is.
Of course, yeah, Alan's probably right. Yeah, we had a good team. I can't believe Looms got sent off. What was he doing?
But don't worry, I've made you this mug of tea.
A striker who scored 10 goals in the whole of last season for and scored 8 for you now.
But just going back to that bully and what Ebanks-Blake said about that, like, could you even imagine? But like, have you two must have played football. Do you play any football? Like, imagine being in that zone. Imagine being in that zone where you think, oh yeah, I'm going to score today. I'm just going to be able to score today. That's what I do. I mean, like, I've never had that not once in my life. Like, imagine. I'm so envious of it.
I mean, I probably didn't score the majority of the time, but I definitely turned up to games thinking I just got a feeling. I still get it now. Like Tim will tell you, when we're at a match before a game, we do predictions on Wolves TV, and sometimes before that, I will say something to Tim that just seems so random, of like someone that I feel might score today or something that might happen. And I reckon at least 5% of the time. Comes off.
5%. Don't set up the betting syndicate just yet.
Yeah, but like Tim will tell you, at Bournemouth.
Oh my God, are you still going on about this? I know exactly what you're going to say.
He hadn't scored for 67 games.
Jesus.
And I said to Tim before kickoff, Martinez going to score today.
Yeah, but you say random stuff every single week. And that one time it comes off, he couldn't stop looking at me during the game. He's supposed to be commentating.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
It's my greatest moment of the season.
So you say Moutinho's going to score each, just in case every week?
No, I'd never said it before until that day.
I mean, I guess it's not quite the same as scoring 15 goals a season. But, you know, we all need to be proud of something, I guess.
But yeah, no. In answer to your question, I don't think any of us have, and that's the reason. That's the reason you're wearing Wolves pajamas, mate. And
yeah. That's it. Just waking up in my smelly pajamas every morning.
It's going to be Michael Kitely to take the free kick. Really busy inside the penalty area.
But not. I like the. It was.
Kitely takes it.
It's a cross-come shot.
And Wolves are in the lead.
Holding him up like Jesus. You're not Adam Proud like Michael Kitely.
I thought it was more like Simba instead of Jesus, but I know what you mean.
No, that's Jack Price, isn't it? It's Jack Price in a few years' time from this.
I'm not sure anyone ever held Jesus up in that manner.
That's
is that a thing?
Tragedy of Easter. All Jesus ever wanted was to celebrate a cross-come shot goal in front of the away fans. Yeah, it's
when the bosses gave us a warning for the stuff we talked about in the last episode of this. I don't think they really thought it through.
Hey, Jesus walked on water, okay? He kept out of it.
Stop talking about adverts, boys, and clean it up a bit. Okay, yeah, great.
Anyone got their chicken tonight?
Stop talking about religion, boys. You're offending far too many people.
Has anyone's jars of chicken tonight arrived after last season's endorsements? Because I'm still waiting for my crate to arrive.
Oh, Sylvan!
Well, how is that not 2-0? You're going to put your mortgage on Sylvan Ebanks-Blake.
That's a weird saying, isn't it? You put your mortgage on it.
Well, I haven't got one.
Yeah, I was going to say, having never had a mortgage.
And if I did, I wouldn't put it on somebody to score a goal.
You know what? You'd put on for Moutinho to score a goal, wouldn't you, Mikey?
Well, I would have done it for him.
Now Kitely gets it under control and picks out Jarvis on this left-hand side. Sylvan Ebanks-Blake's in the middle.
Matty Jarvis was a great player, wasn't he?
Another chance, here he is.
Oh, lovely.
And there's the second goal.
He's saying, have that, Looms. Make him regret the suspension. I'm on my way, Looms. It's a great finish, actually. He kind of slowed himself going down, didn't he, so he could get to it.
Mick, I know you won't get carried away, but you must feel the players are delivering what you ask of them at the moment.
Of course they are. Yeah,
He doesn't look like he's getting carried away, does he?
I can't. I don't know about you, but when I'm watching Mick McCarthy being interviewed in this scenario, I just transfixed by his nose.
It's
which direction it's facing.
It's one of the natural wonders of football, really, isn't it? Mick McCarthy's nose.
Of the world, really. I mean, there are only 7, but there should be 8.
There must have been. Go on.
I like how kind of whenever he does these, he's always in his suit and his hair. I mean, there's a lot of kind of brill cream gone into that to get that so perfectly swept.
Yeah, he kind of isn't. Like, he's not a man naturally suited to a suit, I'd say. He kind of has it kind of gives him the appearance of a guy who's on his way to court for kind of getting involved in an affray.
Here he is again. He's got to put his password in every time. Why didn't he just have remember me on?
Right, it's Edwards.
Brought in Carlos Edwards from Premier League side Sunderland on a 3-month loan deal.
Carlos Edwards.
Unfortunately, at the end of the month, the club suffered their first league defeat of the season. It was an incredible sequence of results.
That quote, by the way, so it's not for lack of preparation, desire, work rate, or belief. So what was it then, Mick?
Stephen Hunt, there he is. Do we sign him next season?
Yeah, but he goes to Hull.
He goes to, I think it was season after next, I think. Sign Kevin Doyle though. He might be playing here. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Because Mick did have a thing where if someone had a really good game against him, he'd like to go out and sign him.
Is that why he signed Nigel Quasi?
Maybe.
There can't be any other reason.
That's definitely the reason he signed Kevin Foley.
He had one good game.
Well, that was
that wouldn't be surprised. Go on.
I was going to say Matt Doherty, wasn't it? He spotted him during a friendly.
Yeah, pre-season.
A couple of years after this.
It does strike me as that is like Mick McCarthy's kind of like a no-nonsense kind of old-school kind of manager. He strikes me as a guy who's got like a little black book, and he'll just write a name in it, and then like in 6 months later he'll just go to it and be like, nah, he'll do.
Quasi.
Well, because
Quasi.
honestly, right, it's the weirdest thing because the boys, obviously I know a lot of the boys at this year, and they all say that like they would sign someone, like Mick would sign him, and then in the first kind of training session, he'd try and break him. He'd be like, if he signed a striker,
physically or mentally,
like a bit of both. Like,
there's the boxing gloves.
If he signed a striker, then he'd basically like lump balls at him and tell like Jody Craddock, Christoph Bearer, Neil Collins, all these guys to absolutely batter him and see what he's all about. And the same when they signed Kevin Foley, they just made Matt Jarvis and Michael Kitely run at him for a training session and see what he could do.
Sounds like
not what you want. Sounds like day at work.
It's like a PG version of the Crazy Gang. You know, when they just used to set fire to your clothes and burst all your tyres and then assault you.
Just for a laugh.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, there's always like one of the Crazy Gang on. When you go on I don't want to talk about Stag Do again, but like...
it's kind of like... This is what everyone's tuning in for. Not Swansea. Tom's Stag Do stories.
When you get the call for Wimbledon, that must have crossed your mind. You must have thought, can I be bothered to go through all that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was watching... the reason I brought it up, I watched a documentary on them the other day. You know, the BT Sport did one. It's knocking around on the internet. And one of the initiation ceremonies they used to do was tie a new sign in to the top of a car and then just go driving down the A roads at 40 miles an hour with someone strapped to the top of a car. I mean, I'd take a shove in the back from Christoph Berra over that, to be honest.
Yeah. In fairness to Mick McCarthy, that puts things in perspectives, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, but to be fair, Mick did that, but he was also punching them at the same time.
Doing 40 down the Compton Road.
Oh, that's an unfortunate positioning of that corner flag.
Just his second league goal.
Look at the rain. Oh,
600,000 from Scunthorpe in January last year. Lovely ball by Dave Edwards, the Welsh international, for him. He had a lot to do though, didn't he?
So, when I was speaking to Sylvan the other day for that thing, asked him who his favourite strike partner was at Wolves. Doyle, Fletcher, Looms. His answer straight away, without hesitation, was Andy Keogh.
really?
Yeah, he said he was just. it was cheekily put to him. Was that because he worked so hard, so you didn't have to? But he just said he was just the ultimate kind of team player to have alongside.
So yeah, it was because he did all his work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh, he was definitely underrated though. He doesn't score many this season, Keogh, but he had a hard time from the fans. I always remember thinking it was unjust for the amount of work that he did for the team.
Because isn't it? It's really odd. Isn't it? Because he and Stephen Ward, for about the last 2.5 months of the season before this, where their just goals were really hard to come by.
Kitely, Ebanks-Blake and Uwalumo all returned for the home match with Coventry as the club returned to winning.
Because wasn't Shea Vignano the top scorer of the season before?
That was in 06-07, I think, when they made the playoffs and lost to Albion.
Yeah, God.
I think.
Let's not review that season, right?
Well, we can't now, can we? No, not now you said that. we know the lockdown's been going on a while. When we pull out the 06-07 season reluctantly, and Tom, you're like, oh, I can't wait for this one.
Here we go.
That's lovely footwork, and there's plenty of Wolves players in there as well. And it's off the line, appeals for help.
Is this Coventry?
Yeah. Against Doyle, but the referee isn't interested. Ebanks-Blake almost diverting it.
Michael Mifsud, the Maltese Falcon.
Uwalumo and Ebanks-Blake in there.
Falcon?
Now
Yeah.
Keogh. Uwalumo can get to it.
Oh, why?
Yes.
Was he good in the air?
No, it's a film.
No, of course he wasn't.
Come on, you're
Of course he
a
wasn't.
cultured yobbo.
Did he like
Oh.
Maltesers? Was it like Ella Kobe with chops?
Yeah.
My favourite of those nicknames, and I'm hoping we do a season review with this man appearing in it, was Sami Al-Jaber from Saudi Arabia. Was the Alan Shearer of the desert. No goals in 5 appearances, of course, for Sammy.
It's hard to come by goals in the desert. To be
Well, there are no goals for a start.
yeah, that's it.
Can't find a tree anywhere.
Camels for goalposts, anyway.
Wolves get their noses in front. This is Sylvan Ebanks-Blake.
He's done him.
Power and pace.
Oh.
Shot from Kitely, saved by the keeper.
Oh.
And turned home by Sylvan Ebanks-Blake.
How's that
That-
loud?
No, that
Was
feels
he
like the
up-
kind. Yeah,
Was he off the pitch? Is that why he wasn't offside?
there is no way VAR's letting that goal stand, is there? No way in the world. Oh, he's off. Look, hang on.
Yeah,
That would have been a pen.
that's brilliant.
He's done very well there.
Actually gone off the pitch. Ebanks-Blake back on to score.
Top of the league. Are we? Well, I gathered that from the fans chanting. But,
You're asking for it though. If you're not going to ask a question, if you're just going to say the words top of the league, then you're asking for it from Mick.
It was. I expected it, to be fair. I'd said to the players on Thursday, Friday, really. When you've had that period of time, 2 weeks, we've only had 4 players in, sometimes 5, and we've not had the right preparation.
I bet he's a great. I don't know if he is or not, but he's great granddad material, isn't he, Mick McCarthy? You know, like kind of like you think like you've had a tough day at school. You know you've been picked on or something. Like, you want to go and talk to your granddad about it. He'd be fantastic in that role, and on the shoulder.
Yeah,
Pair of
doesn't understand.
I can't see him being very sympathetic.
No, like
Picking on you, are they?
he's straight talking.
Give him
Yeah.
a smack.
Yeah, look, no, you go back in there. You tell him this.
He, like, and doesn't understand modern technology like any granddad. What do you call it? Twatter, not Twitter. Yeah.
Is that what he used to say?
Yeah, he used to call it Twatter.
Do you think that's the reason they've made the in-between bits so high-tech, just to kind of wind Mick up?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He's got his transfer folder. Of course, he is a bit more high tech. Yeah.
Right, because we're going to lose this game, I'll tell you my favourite ever Mick McCarthy story. Right,
Brilliant.
there was a reporter. I'm not sure what I should say his name. I won't. He worked for one of the local papers though.
Well, it wasn't me. I should just say.
And it wasn't the guy who was before you, for reasons that will become clear in a minute. So he turned up to the press conference, and Mick would do his TV, he'd then do radio, and then all the newspaper journalists would sit around the table. One of the newspaper journalists had cut his own hair. Right? And as they're sitting down, Mick looks at him, and he goes, "Are you alright?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What have you done to your hair?" He's like, "Oh, I cut it myself, Mick." He was like, "What did you want to look like? A sunflower?" And the guy's like, No, I just did it for a bit of a laugh. And he's like, "You look like someone, I can't put my finger on it." He does the rest of the press conference, goes upstairs. 10 minutes later, everyone's still working in the room. Mick bursts back in and just goes, "I've got it! Beetlejuice!"
Brilliant.
It'd been up on Google, trying to find a picture.
I just love the idea that he walked into the coach's room. TC, Ian Tapp Evans, they're all in there. Tony Daly. He's like, lads. Who's that guy? You know.
No, not
him in that film.
Yeah. No, the film.
What TC likes. That film you like, TC. Oh, we're still losing at Norwich.
Yeah, let's skip through this, can't we, really?
Kit looks good though. I do like that kit. Fluorescent is bold, but I think they pulled it off.
Yeah, the away kit. It is,
Yeah.
and it's comfy as well. It's smelly, but it's comfy. There's a reason it's graduated. Yeah, I've got the long sleeve, and it's really stood the test of time. I'm very fond of it. I might go and put it on. I might put it on for the second half of the season. Just get nice and cosy.
Dangling. Sylvan Ebanks-Blake to make it 3-2, which he does. Game on again. Ebanks-Blake, 7th of the season.
I'm going to be controversial. I don't like it.
And again,
No.
Hang on.
I don't like the Illuminous bits.
this time
I think it gives them a bit of an edge. Makes them look, futuristic.
You're no longer invited to my sleepover.
well, it's the currency that Wolves are. Well, Stearman is in trouble here. He's booked already, and it was an awkward-looking challenge on Leroy Lita.
I mean, they could have skipped through this game, couldn't they? We don't need all the.
Another card.
We don't need. Yeah.
Second card in show. Victor Stearman, and he has to go. Stearman trying his best to stop Leroy Lita from getting possession of the ball after that.
I find myself getting more and more angry that we never got to see those Rotherham goals.
There must be somewhere.
And I'm
Must
getting
be
all this
somewhere.
now.
We should stick that out as a special, just as the whole
Can we get the game?
Rotherham game. It's got to exist. It's got to exist somewhere. Ooh. Good job he didn't connect with that tackle, innit?
I really don't remember this game from this season.
I remember it was a midweek.
I remember because my housemate at the time was from Norwich. I was living in London, and so I remember that result quite well.
God, we're still in October.
I don't like this kit at all. This looks terrible.
This is a heady combination. This isn't planned, is it? Right?
No. This gold and fluorescent is not a good mix.
No, but this is like I don't think they had any other option because
So that's
black shorts for both home and away kit.
Oh, it's terrible to look at, isn't it? Bloody hell!
You'd make some white shorts just for this game, wouldn't you?
You'd make some white shorts.
Or something.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh! He was very angry.
He just got absolutely clattered.
Oh, that's like that. That's like Schumacher. That is. What was his name? The France-Germany game. Do you remember? Ouch.
Oh. There's Luke.
He's telling him to shut up. Shut up, Sylvan. I've scored.
It reminded me of do you remember the bully goal against Villa years ago?
Oh yeah, against
in the League Cup.
Nigel Spink when he knocks him out.
Yeah, Spink just comes and punches him in the head. And Bully wakes up and says, "Did I score?" Well, that's how I remember the story anyway. I remember the way I used to tell that story. I told a mate of mine about it about a year or so ago. I was like, one of my favourite Steve Ball goals is he goes up, Spinks punches him in the head. They knocked him out cold. He woke up in the ambulance on the way to hospital, and the first words he said were, "Did I score?" And I thought that was exactly the story. And then I rewatched the goal about 2 months ago and realised, but he gets up and carries on playing the rest of the game. It's like a terrible exaggeration. He wakes up. He's in the hospital. It's like,
Woke up from a 6-month coma.
Yeah. First words, "Did I score?" Yes, Steve.
just a knowing nod, and then they just close his eyes again. He's like, yes.
Another 6 months. Yeah. The story, what is it? Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So anyway, back to Mick McCarthy with his boxing gloves, right? So
Tommy Smith.
Oh, it's good to see. Have you got like a in your head? Have you got like a penalty technique that's the penalty? If you were ever in like a situation where they're like, right, we need someone to take this penalty, and it was you pulled out the crowd like in Dreams and stuff. Have you got like a penalty technique? You think that's my go-to penalty technique?
If I could do it, I'd side foot it into the top corner. I think they're the best ones because they can't be saved.
But yeah,
but I could never do it.
Hard and low, keeper's right.
Hard and low, keeper's right. Mine I've got from the penalty shootout that we had with, was it Leicester in the cup? And David Kelly and Don Goodman both just absolutely smash it.
Oh, you mean the Sheffield
the
Wednesday
roof of the net?
penalty?
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday. That's it.
Oh, my favourite game ever. That is.
David Kelly and Don Goodman, both their penalties are like roof of the net. They just open the laces and just smash it. And I always think, yes, please.
Oh no, the perfect one is from that same shootout. Do you remember Kevin Pressman into the top corner?
Yeah. One of the best penalties.
Shefflin's the goalkeeper.
One of the best penalties I've ever seen.
Tremendous. Joe Hart did one for the England under-21s a few years back. maybe around the same time as this, actually.
Yeah, we did.
In like a European under-21s thing, and he absolutely leathers it to the top corner.
We've considered lots recently.
Yeah, that Pressman penalty is perhaps the perfect penalty.
And Andy Gray says on commentary, you could have 2 goalkeepers in there and they wouldn't save it.
That's really good. That's really good.
By the way, as we've been talking about penalties, Mick's actually been explaining his boxing glove story. We've just missed it.
We've missed it.
Sorry,
No. That Sheffield Wednesday penalty shootout. The next morning was my brother's birthday, and he was given a hamster, so he called it Jonah. because
Brilliant.
So we had a hamster called Jonah because of the penalty shootout heroics of Paul Jones.
Oh, Michael Mancian.
The previous season, and would continue his developments at the heart of the Wolves back line.
Didn't they have Michael Mancian for about 4 years? Just never just got anywhere further.
He was always on loan at Wolves. It was like, yeah, we didn't buy him permanently. He was always just returned on loan every year. It's like everyone was too lazy to think of anything else to do. So, should we get Michael Mancian back on loan? No, okay. But he got in the England squad this season, I remember. He was pretty highly rated at the time.
Yeah, he was decent, wasn't he?
If ever there was a case for an orange ball, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are they still around, orange balls?
Well, they have the winter ball now, don't they? Isn't it like just slightly fluorescent?
Just not as good, is it?
No.
See, this is when gold music was good.
This is when they had Minder for Dave Edwards, as I was telling you.
Oh,
I still don't believe that was true.
Yeah.
It's true. Someone tweeted me to say it was true, so it must be true.
Will we hear it this season?
I hope so.
Yeah, but people have tweeted us that this season re-review is a good thing, so...
Yeah, that woman with 7 followers.
People will put anything on social media.
If you're watching, welcome back, woman with 7 followers. We're very glad to have you.
It's going to be Foley with the kick. Lumo's up there. Ebanks-Blake trying to use his strength.
Yeah, that's where I'm talking about Ebanks-Blake. It's like you just can't get round him.
Inviting cross.
Yes.
And Ebanks-Blake makes the most of it. But a lot of the credit.
He's not very tall. Like, how tall is Sylvan Ebanks-Blake? Or is it just because he's next to Looms that makes him look a little bit shorter? Because Looms is big, isn't he?
But yeah, I don't think he's 6 foot, you know.
I'd say that, what, 5'9", 5'8"?
Yeah, that's it. But he's just like he's like a weeble. You just can't kind of get him out. You know, you can't move him. Do you know
I bet he'd love that analogy.
It's like a weeble.
Yeah, I mean in a good way. Like in a good way.
This was on telly, I remember. I think this was a Friday night. And both the goals came within like 4 minutes or something stupid.
They're off to a flyer. The Championship's entertainers.
The Championship entertainers.
Fantastic. The great entertainers. We love that.
There we are. That's it, isn't it? Because people talk about us nowadays as like it's a sudden thing, but no, look, we were entertained. It's always been our way.
Always. I never went to Ninian Park. It always looked like a very intimidating place to go.
The one of the stands that you had to go through to get to the press area, it had no word of a lie. I mean, it genuinely had like the inside of an old pub in it. Like they'd taken out the bar and everything, and someone had just put it inside the stand.
Amazing.
Scary place to go, that. Still is a little bit. New ground is literally across the road.
Is it?
And have they taken this ground down?
Yeah, it's all houses.
They have have arrived here
Shame.
in South Wales with such positive intentions. And look at this now, inside 8 minutes. It's a 2-goal lead for the table toppers. He's just on here.
So are we ever off top this season? I guess we haven't been so far, have we?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Whenever they struggled, all the chasers seem to struggle.
Mm.
And even in the January to come, which, spoiler alert everyone, not that great.
But tune in for part 2 when we'll be looking at that January.
Yeah, but I mean it gets better towards the end. But like, still nobody closes the gap.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's just a pretty incredible season, really. You know, like, it's just. Yeah, you know, you kind of forget how much everything clicked and yeah.
That's an interesting kind of debate between some of the players of this team and the players of the 2003 team, and I think this team. I don't know what that noise was about. I don't know if it's anything to do. I don't think it's anything to do with the comment I was making.
It is.
Okay, so this team, 08-09, is revered. Is not as revered as the 03 team, they feel. And yet they won the league. They were top of the league all season. Arguably a better achievement with a younger squad of players. But the 03 team are held in high regard, they feel.
Mick McCarthy dropped a mug on his foot. Forgot the spoon.
I had the T-shirt with him wearing crutches on it on the front. They made T-shirts. I've got it. I'm going to take a picture. I'll send it you.
Great.
There was because he celebrates with the crutches in the air. He like it's fantastic pose. And they made T-shirts.
Just played a 1-2 with the post. This is outrageous.
It kind of looked like he played for it as well, didn't it?
They're great entertainers.
But yeah, I feel like they are a little bit hard done by this team. However,
Yes.
the 03 was just so special because it was the first time in 20 years or whatever that we'd gone up. So
it'd been such a long time coming, hadn't it? And it felt like, but it is true. Yeah, I think that is true. Like, it feels like now we were in this kind of phase of kind of going up and coming down, and it's kind of like going to be something that happens a few times.
Yeah, they're probably not helped by what happened later when a lot of these players were relegated back to Championship and then League One. Or some of them.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those, like, obviously I've spoken to a lot of these guys about it, and like one of the big gripes, certainly from Carl Henry, is that when they opened the museum, that there was like a big tribute to the 2003 team, and there wasn't very much about their team. And I was like, yeah, but like the museum opened in like 2010, 2011. I was like, Carl, you were all still there. You weren't going to go in the museum.
Yeah, he's missed the idea of what a museum's about for me there, Carl. It's historical artefacts, not present day. like I'm sure like the first thing Nuno didn't think of when Wolves won the title was, yes, going to get in the museum this summer.
And Chris Uolumo meeting Carlos Edwards, delightful cross.
He's interesting though.
It is, isn't it? It's because it had been like 19 years for the other team.
Yeah, and Cardiff was so special as a day, an unbeatable day. Still hasn't been beaten for me.
Yeah, I think that's true.
It's a lot of people say
You were waxing lyrical about thrashing Bury the other week.
Oh, what day?
well, obviously there's Bury. I mean, that goes without saying, though, right?
But a lot of people say that Cardiff was the best day of their life. You know, not just even as a Wolves fan. So
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to top that.
It was an event, wasn't it? That's the thing. It was just like it was like the spectacle, the event, the will we won't we kind of. Whereas this season went so well that it was kind of like it reaches a point where you kind of go, there's an
Oh no! Michael Michael Kitely's now playing 1-2s off the keeper here. This is incredible.
It's like one-man Wembley.
Southampton have a foothold in this game at last. Leading with Lumo to it.
I remember this team played a crucial part in like the fan-player relationship though, which had been eroded a lot after Glenn Hoddle, and which was so dull, and lots of players that fans couldn't connect with. Whereas I think a lot of fans could relate to these players, people like Kitely from the non-leagues, Matt Jarvis from Gillingham, Sylvan Ebanks-Blake from Plymouth. There were Andy Keogh. There were like a lot of young guys making their way in the game. Carl Henry, local lad.
That is kind of what's incredible about this team, isn't it? Really, it's like you look at it and it's a young team, all bought. Like have it,
I mean, put it this way, Tom. You could literally assemble this team off Tim Spiers' athletic salary.
yeah.
Is that the best band? You've been waiting for weeks to drop that in. Is that the best banter you got?
I enjoyed it. All right. But like you look at the 03 team. You look at the names that were in there and kind of like the amount of money that had gone on it, and like the achievement here is it's huge.
It's greater.
Like,
yeah.
It is greater because
that 03 team, they had Paul Ince and Dennis Irwin. They should have gone up. They shouldn't have finished fifth, which is what happened.
Absolutely. And to go from finishing 7th the season before, for them to click as a unit and to do this, it's incredible. It's an incredible season, incredible achievement.
And they were all doing it for the first. Well, most of them were doing it for the first time as well. People like Foley, they'd all come from lower leagues. Stephen Ward from Ireland, they'd all come from nowhere.
Looms loves this game, by the way, because he's captain. He can't get enough of this.
It's his berry.
It's him wearing the armband. I think he got Jody Craddock to even do a thing, especially for that goal.
Oh, it's a good goal. It's a good goal.
He got Jody Craddock to draw him this moment.
Like one of his French girls. Remarkable.
That, by the way, Stephen Ward, the two of them had a pact that because Wardy was at the back at this point, that they would make sure to celebrate together. They never actually planned to do anything. It was just, they were like, yeah, we're going to make sure we have a special hug after every goal.
Oh, that's nice.
And be honest there. Trying to keep his foot in.
It's a great goal.
That's it. He loves that.
Chuckler's lost it. And Olumo scores.
Yeah, not as impressed with that one, really.
Just give me a brass rubbing of that one, Craddock.
Cancel the tapestry. Well, this kind of feels like a good point to take a little bit of a break, really. It's gone all right so far, lads.
Yeah, it's going all right, isn't it?
Maybe there is more to come.